Hello, steady-hearted Taurus. If these words have found their way to you during these final days of June, trust that this moment is not happening by chance. A meaningful current of abundance is quietly making its way toward your life. Yet at the same time, something that has weighed heavily on your heart may be preparing to loosen its hold. Over the next several minutes, we will explore why financial blessings often arrive alongside important farewells or may be ready to leave your path, and how you can move through this transition without abusing either your blessings or your sense of self. If you feel ready to receive what life is preparing for you, leave a gentle confirmation below this video. I am ready to receive blessings and release what no longer belongs in my life. That comment is more than a statement, because it is a conscious acknowledgement that you are willing to welcome a new chapter. If this message speaks to you, please like and share this video, so these reflections and positive values can reach others who may need them as well. To understand why money and release often appear together during important periods for Taurus, we need to begin with something essential: the deeper nature of your sign and the role it plays within the zodiac. Taurus is guided by Venus, a planet associated not only with beauty and comfort, but also with value, growth, and the ability to nurture something until it becomes strong. Like a seed developing deep roots before it rises above the earth, your energy is designed to build steadily, creating foundations that can last. Unlike signs that rush toward the unknown, Taurus teaches the wisdom of creating stability before expansion. You are not here simply to chase the next opportunity. You are here to cultivate something meaningful, to turn effort into lasting results, and to transform potential into something real. Yet there is a paradox within this gift, because the desire for stability can sometimes keep you connected to situations that have already completed their purpose. There are seasons of life when you try to adjust, compromise, and remain patient. You tell yourself that with enough time things will improve or eventually feel right again. Yet deep inside, there can be a quiet feeling that something no longer fits. It is not because you lack gratitude or appreciation, but because part of you senses that growth is asking for more space than your current environment can provide. This is something I want to share from the heart. Many Taurus individuals are not lacking money as much as they are lacking energy. They have spent so much of themselves maintaining relationships, responsibilities, and situations that no longer support who they are becoming. The issue is not always financial scarcity. Sometimes it is the cost of holding on to things that no longer belong to the future you are trying to build. In astrology, when Venus is unable to express itself fully, its energy does not disappear. It can turn into exhaustion, emotional heaviness, or the feeling that your true needs have been placed aside for too long. Life has a way of restoring balance, and when a soul remains in an outdated space for longer than necessary, circumstances often begin to shift. Sometimes that shift arrives through opportunity, and sometimes it arrives through release. The lesson here is simple yet powerful. The person who creates something lasting often feels the discomfort of change before anyone else recognizes its purpose. Taurus is not here to remain frozen in old patterns forever. You are here to build a life that continues to grow, and growth often requires making room for what comes next. Every meaningful transition asks you to loosen your grip on something familiar before something greater can take root. Many Taurus individuals wonder why larger opportunities sometimes arrive alongside emotional challenges. Why does a new level of prosperity appear at the same time as a relationship, place, or role begins to fade away? The answer is connected to your deeper nature. You are learning that true security comes from alignment, not attachment. There is something I often say to Taurus, and it is not always comfortable to hear. If life has remained exactly the same for too long, there may be areas where growth has been waiting patiently for your permission. During these moments, life does not always force change dramatically. More often, it gently removes what no longer supports your future. If these words resonate, pause for a moment and ask yourself a sincere question. Have you ever felt that your spirit has outgrown your current circumstances? Have you sensed that you are meant for something larger than the role you have been playing, the environment you have been maintaining, or the expectations others have placed upon you? If the answer is yes, that feeling is not arrogance. It may simply be your inner wisdom recognizing that a new chapter is ready to begin. If you feel that you are standing at an important threshold, leave this affirmation below the video. I allow myself to step into a more deserving space. That message is not for anyone else. It is a conversation with yourself, an acknowledgement that you are ready to accept greater responsibility for the life you want to create. Remember that in astrology, money is not only material, it often reflects the value you are willing to recognize within yourself. When Taurus releases what no longer supports growth, new financial opportunities have room to enter. When old structures are no longer carrying your future forward, new possibilities can finally take shape. If these reflections feel meaningful, please like and share this video so others moving through similar transformations can find encouragement as well. And this is only the beginning, because when the spirit of Taurus grows beyond the limits of an old situation, life responds in ways that are both clear and decisive. As we move deeper into this message, I invite you to slow down and settle into the rhythm of what is unfolding. There is no need to rush, because what is approaching is not a sudden disruption. It is the result of a cycle that has been developing quietly over time. In the birth chart of Taurus, when Jupiter begins activating the second house or the eighth house, an important gateway begins to open. This is about more than money alone. It is the meeting point between personal value and karmic value. One side reflects what you have created through effort, skill, and persistence. The other reflects what returns to you after everything you have carried, endured, and learned. Jupiter does not deliver abundance recklessly. It expands what you are truly prepared to sustain. There is a gentle perspective I want to share with you. Money does not arrive simply because it is needed. It arrives when you are capable of holding it without losing your sense of self. When Jupiter activates the second or eighth house for Taurus, it often reflects a long period of learning about self-worth, respect, and healthy boundaries. Perhaps no one around you noticed those lessons, but life did. Life saw the moments when you stopped undervaluing yourself in order to gain approval. Life saw the moments when you learned that money was not a measure of superiority or a tool for proving your worth to others. It saw the growth that allowed you to become mature enough to value yourself without needing constant validation. Because of that growth, the door to new blessings begins to open. At the same time, we cannot overlook the influence of Pluto and Saturn. These are not planets that hand out effortless rewards. Pluto reaches beneath the surface, while Saturn examines what is strong enough to last. When both planets call for a reorganization of values, it becomes clear that old ideas about money cannot travel with you into the next chapter. Using money to fill emotional emptiness, to prevent someone from leaving, or to create an illusion of safety no longer supports where you are headed. The lesson of this period is straightforward. Money is meant to expand positive impact, not serve as a shelter from pain. If there was a time when money became a way to quiet an inner sense of lack, Pluto encourages you to face that feeling directly. This is not about punishment. It is about healing. I want you to hear this message carefully. Money is not arriving so you can prove your worth to anyone. Money arrives so you can live in greater alignment with who you truly are. When Taurus understands this, financial flow stops feeling like pressure and begins to feel like support. It becomes a resource that allows you to live with greater purpose, contribute more meaningfully, and experience a deeper sense of freedom. Many Taurus individuals enter this phase carrying two emotions at once. There is hope because something long awaited finally seems within reach. Yet there is also uncertainty, because part of you senses that life will not remain exactly as it has been. That feeling is completely natural, because every period of growth asks you to release a former version of yourself. If you sense abundance approaching while your heart is moving through unusually deep emotions, it may be a sign that the karmic money axis is becoming active. You are being invited into a larger role where money is connected to responsibility as much as enjoyment. I want to ask you something, and I encourage you to answer honestly. What do you want money to help build in your life? Is it security, freedom, the ability to choose your own path, or a value you once felt unable to prioritize? If you feel called to do so, share your answer in the comments. The purpose is not for anyone else to read it, but for you to recognize your own truth more clearly. If these words bring comfort or insight, please like and share this video, because the right message at the right moment can remind people they are not alone in their growth. Before we continue, remember this important truth. Whenever a significant flow of money enters the life of Taurus, it is not only a blessing, it is also a subtle test of values, because money rarely arrives by itself, and another important shift is often moving alongside it. In the previous section, we explored the deeper nature of Taurus. Now the pace needs to soften a little, not to slow progress, but to see more clearly what has been unfolding quietly beneath the surface. What is approaching is not random. It is the result of an astrological cycle that has been developing for a very long time. In the birth chart of Taurus, when Jupiter activates the second house or the eighth house, the connection between personal wealth and karmic wealth begins to open. This is where self-worth meets what life returns after a long season of lessons. One side reflects the effort, choices, and dedication you have invested. The other reflects what comes back after responsibilities, burdens, and experiences that often went unseen by others. Jupiter does not deliver abundance through haste or chance. It expands what has already become strong enough to hold. When this planet moves through the second or eighth house of Taurus, it often signals that an important stage of growth around self-respect, personal boundaries, and value has been completed. Old limitations connected to how you see yourself are no longer able to support the future that is forming. It is this inner shift that creates room for a new financial current to enter your life. Alongside Jupiter, the presence of Pluto and Saturn reminds us that this is not only a season of receiving, but also a season of purification. Pluto explores the hidden motivations beneath material desires. Saturn evaluates whether the foundation of your values is strong and sustainable. When both planets require change, old beliefs about money are naturally brought back into view for deeper examination. Money is no longer something used to fill an emotional void, hold on to people, or create temporary comfort. Those perspectives gradually lose their power. The lesson of this phase is both simple and profound. Money expands positive influence, but it cannot heal wounds that have not yet been acknowledged. When the karmic money axis becomes active, every financial choice reflects the values living within you. What lacks authenticity will reveal itself. What is aligned with your true nature will be strengthened and given room to grow. There is an important message here that deserves your full attention. Money does not appear so you can prove something to others. It appears to support a life that reflects who you genuinely are. Once this understanding settles in, financial flow no longer feels heavy or overwhelming. It becomes a tool that brings greater meaning, deeper purpose, and a stronger ability to contribute to the people around you. During this period, many Taurus individuals experience two seemingly opposite emotions at the same time. There is hope because a new opportunity is beginning to emerge. There is also a quiet uneasiness because your intuition knows that some familiar things may not remain the same. This combination is a natural sign that expansion is taking place. Every meaningful stage of growth requires leaving part of the past behind. When money appears alongside deep emotional movement, it often signals that the karmic money axis is especially active. This is not simply a time of receiving. It is an invitation to step into a larger role where money becomes connected to responsibility, conscious choices, and long-term impact. At this point, an important question deserves your attention. The abundance that is moving toward you, what do you want it to build? Will it create lasting security, greater freedom of choice, a future shaped with more intention, or a value you once placed behind everything else? Giving that purpose a name, whether privately or through a brief comment below this video, can become a way of directing the energy that is already beginning to move. If these reflections bring you clarity or a sense of peace, sharing them with others can also be a meaningful act of connection. Sometimes the right message arrives at exactly the right time and reminds people that they are not alone as they rebuild, grow, and reshape their lives. Before we continue, there is something important to remember. Whenever a significant flow of money enters the life of Taurus, it arrives not only as a blessing, but also as a quiet test of values and personal choices. Money rarely comes by itself. Alongside it, another shift often begins to unfold beneath the surface. After moving through lessons connected to finances and release, Taurus enters a very different stage. This stage is not dramatic or demanding, and it no longer requires constant effort to prove your worth. This is the moment when the energy of Venus begins expressing itself in a deeper and more mature way. In astrology, an undeveloped Venus may seek comfort quickly, cling to what feels familiar, or resist change out of fear of losing stability. A mature Venus, however, understands the difference between attachment and genuine value. It knows when to hold on, and more importantly, it knows when something has completed its purpose. This lesson is especially meaningful for Taurus because you are naturally inclined to invest deeply in what you care about. You take responsibilities seriously, and once you commit to something, you often give it more time, patience, and effort than most people ever would. Yet true strength is not found in holding on forever. True strength appears when you can release something with grace while still honoring everything it taught you. There are moments when you continue down a path simply because you have already invested so much of yourself in it. You stay because of the memories, the effort, or the time already given. You remain committed because turning away can feel like losing part of your story. Yet a mature Venus does not measure value by how long something has lasted. It measures value by whether it still supports the life you are trying to build today. You no longer need to become stronger than you already are. What matters now is becoming more honest with yourself. Honest about feelings that have quietly become exhausted. Honest about relationships that ask you to shrink in order to maintain them. Honest about choices that, deep down, you already know may cost you too much if they continue. This phase carries an important human lesson. Not everyone is meant to walk beside the version of you that is emerging. That does not make anyone wrong, and it does not make you better than anyone else. It simply means that certain paths, priorities, and rhythms of life no longer move in the same direction. For Taurus, this lesson can be particularly challenging because you often believe that a little more patience will eventually solve everything. You tell yourself that if you try one more time, give a little more, or wait a little longer, things will return to balance. Yet the astrology surrounding this period is not encouraging endless endurance. It is encouraging clarity. When you stop at the right moment, you are not abandoning anyone. You are protecting your energy and preserving what is most valuable within you. When that energy is no longer drained by situations that have run their course, you can move forward with a heart that remains whole rather than worn down. There may be moments when this pause feels unfamiliar. The conversations that once filled your days may become quieter. Old routines may no longer provide the same sense of comfort they once did. Yet within that open space, you gain an opportunity to hear your own voice more clearly than before. You may begin to recognize that many burdens you carried never truly belonged to you. Some responsibilities were accepted out of loyalty. Some emotions were absorbed simply because you cared deeply. A mature Venus does not require you to carry everything forever. Instead, it teaches discernment. It reminds you that not every request requires your energy, and not every disagreement deserves your attention. Some situations only need to be released, and once they are released, they naturally fade away. If you find yourself moving through this season, allow yourself to slow down. This is not about giving up. It is about reconnecting with what genuinely matters. Ask yourself a simple but honest question. What is draining me the most, and why am I still holding on to it? If you feel comfortable, you can share your answer in the comments. What lesson about letting go are you learning right now? Perhaps it involves a relationship, a habit, a role, or an image of yourself that you have carried long after it stopped serving your growth. If these words resonate with you, please like and share this video. The purpose is not to spread sadness, but to spread awareness. Many people are learning the same lesson about timing, boundaries, and release, and your experience may help someone feel less alone. As Taurus moves through this stage, something meaningful begins to change. When your choices come from inner clarity rather than emotional attachment, another opportunity begins to reveal itself. This is no longer a test, it is the reward that follows the lesson. Once you move beyond this point, the focus is no longer on loss, the focus becomes expansion. After navigating deeper lessons around money, release, and personal truth, Taurus enters a very different space. This new chapter is not about proving strength. It is about being recognized for authentic value. In astrology, this often corresponds with the activation of the 10th house. This is the house connected to career, reputation, contribution, and the impact you leave on the people around you. The 10th house is not concerned with appearances or temporary success. It is concerned with what can endure. It asks who you become when greater responsibility arrives. It asks how you use influence, how you treat others, and what kind of foundation supports your achievements. When the 10th house becomes active for Taurus, money stops being only a personal reward and becomes connected to something larger. What you build begins to affect more than just your own life. Your actions create ripples that reach other people as well. This is where a different form of abundance begins to emerge. It is the wealth that comes from meaning, purpose, and contribution. There is something important to understand here. Taurus is often at its most prosperous when there is no longer a need to prove anything. You do not need to convince anyone of your strength. You do not need to convince anyone of your capability. You do not need external approval to confirm your worth. When achievement is no longer being used as protection for the ego, success begins to arrive with far less resistance. At this stage, many Taurus individuals discover a quiet truth. You do not need to push harder. You simply need to stand firmly in who you are. You do not need to speak louder in order to be heard. You only need to express yourself with honesty and clarity. When that happens, people naturally recognize your value, trust your judgment, and connect with the vision you carry. The deeper lesson of the 10th house is simple. Real success is not about standing above others. Real success is about becoming steady enough that others can rely on the strength of your presence. When Taurus steps into this stage, leadership no longer comes from determination alone. It comes through steadiness, wisdom, and a quiet sense of responsibility. You may begin to see that the people or situations that left your life did not take something away from you. In many ways, they helped guide you back to yourself. You did not truly lose what mattered. You rediscovered a version of yourself that no longer depends on outside approval. A version that no longer feels obligated to maintain an image that has outlived its purpose. A version grounded enough to understand exactly where you stand and why that place belongs to you. During this period, your professional path may begin moving in a different direction. The change may not appear dramatic from the outside, but it often carries greater depth and meaning. It could arrive as a leadership opportunity, increased responsibility, or a project that serves a wider community. The form is not what matters most. What matters is the feeling behind it. You begin acting not because you hope to receive something in return, but because your actions feel aligned with who you are becoming. From that place of alignment, abundance starts flowing in a different way. Money no longer arrives through pressure, urgency, or sacrifice of your peace. It comes as a natural result of living your values. It supports what you are building rather than distracting you from it. Financial growth becomes a reflection of inner stability rather than a goal that must be chased. If you find yourself in this chapter, allow yourself to appreciate the road that brought you here. The losses, the pauses, and the endings that once felt disappointing have all played a role in shaping who you are today. They brought you to a place where you no longer need to struggle for worthiness because your worth already exists. There is an important question to consider. Who do you want to become over the next 6 months? Not how much money you hope to earn and not what title you want to achieve, but what kind of person you want to be as greater opportunities arrive. Do you want to become calmer, clearer, more grounded, or more capable of creating a positive impact on the people around you? If you would like, share your answer in the comments. Sometimes naming the future version of yourself becomes the first intentional step toward growing into it. If these reflections strengthen your spirit or renew your sense of faith, please like and share this video, not as a way of displaying success, but as a way of encouraging a healthier understanding of value, responsibility, and prosperity. Before moving forward, there is one truth worth holding close. The road ahead for Taurus is no longer about personal achievement alone. It is becoming a journey of contribution and lasting impact. When you walk that path with awareness, life responds in meaningful ways because there is still one final message waiting to unfold. This message is not born from effort alone. It comes from the alignment between who you are and the direction you have chosen. If you are still here listening, that says something important. It suggests that deep within you recognize that what is happening in your life is not random. There is a deeper order beneath the surface. There is meaning within the timing of events. Abundance arrives to create new possibilities. Separation arrives to create freedom. When seen clearly, both can be understood as gifts. This is not simply a comforting idea. It is a perspective rooted in astrology, spiritual insight, and lived experience. When you look back over the entire path, you may realize that nothing was wasted. Every lesson, every ending, and every challenge contributed something valuable. Money enters the life of Taurus, not to change who you are, but to help you express more of your authentic self. It arrives after lessons about self-respect, boundaries, and personal value have begun to settle into wisdom. It comes when you are ready to stop using money as protection from fear and start using it to create a life with meaning and purpose. The same truth applies to separation. It does not arrive as a punishment. It arrives to clear away attachments that no longer support your growth. It removes relationships, expectations, or roles that require you to become smaller than you truly are. When those things leave, the empty space they create is not there to diminish you. It exists so something more aligned can eventually enter. There may have been moments when you questioned why certain losses were necessary. You may have wondered why periods of hope often seem to arrive alongside discomfort. Yet when viewed from a broader perspective, each release protected you from remaining trapped inside an outdated version of yourself. Taurus was never meant to remain confined within a life that no longer reflects its growth. To build a meaningful future, you must occasionally release what no longer belongs in it. This process does not require anger or resistance. It asks for awareness and acceptance. Right now, there is no need to rush toward major decisions. There is no need to force the future into place before it is ready. What matters most is allowing yourself a moment of reflection. Look back and notice how much you have learned about yourself. Notice how much more clearly you understand your needs, your limits, and the places where you have learned to stop giving your energy away. If you feel that you are standing between what has ended and what has not yet fully begun, trust that this space has meaning. It is a place of transition and awareness. You are no longer being pulled backward by the past, yet you have not been swept fully into the future. This is where choices become clearer. This is where decisions can come from wisdom rather than fear. If you feel ready to welcome the next chapter of your life, leave a gentle confirmation below this video. I allow myself to receive blessings and release what no longer fits. That affirmation is not for anyone else. It is a way of hearing your own intention clearly. It is a reminder of what you are inviting into your life and what you are finally prepared to set down. If this video brings you comfort, clarity, or simply the feeling of being understood, please like and share it. Not to spread sadness, but to share healing and encouragement with others. Many Taurus individuals are moving through quiet transformations of their own. There is one final thing to remember. You did not come here to become perfect. You came here to become authentic. Authentic with your emotions, authentic with your boundaries, and authentic with the desires that matter most to your heart. When you begin living from that place of honesty, life has a way of bringing opportunities that genuinely belong to you. Everything you have moved through recently has not diminished your strength. Instead, it has sharpened your understanding. It has helped you see more clearly what you deserve, what kind of future you want to create, and what you are no longer willing to carry forward. that clarity becomes the foundation beneath everything that follows. Yet the story does not stop here. As Taurus moves through these lessons surrounding money, release, and personal values, another quiet strength begins to emerge. It is the ability to lead through presence rather than pressure, through steadiness rather than reaction, and through authenticity rather than the need to prove anything. This strength is not loud, but it is powerful. It grows from living in alignment with what is true instead of constantly pushing against what is not, and it becomes an important part of the chapter that is beginning to take shape in your life. This is a chapter where you no longer feel the need to chase destiny. Instead, you begin moving alongside it with greater trust, awareness, and purpose. I will speak more about that in the next video.